So
Most
walking
likely
out
to
of
retain.
WrestleMania, most likely to retain.
Because I believe betting-wise, all 4 champs are underdogs coming into the weekend.
Okay, so let me just throw a Molotov cocktail into the works and say Tiffany Stratton will retain.
Ooh.
How about that? I think that based on everything we've heard from Triple H this week, I think he's ready to kind of tear up some scripts and just kind of go the other way. How about Tiffany Stratton retaining against Charlotte Flair? Charlotte doesn't have to win at WrestleMania. It's not necessary. And by the way, even though they've done great work as of late, does it mean that Tiffany has to lose unless she's punished by the company based on that promo? I don't know. But how about a little bit of a switch of Tiffany retaining with a roll-up?
I'd be fine with that. I think for me, most likely, I go the other women's side. I think Io, who's basically been forgotten, who's been complained about as being a part of that triple threat. We all want Bianca versus Rhea, and literally and figuratively, Io's sort of been pushed to the side. Her winning, I think, could do a lot for her. And to your point, someone like Rhea taking a loss doesn't hurt her at all.
Yeah, I had Io as my number 2. My most likely to retain, I still said Gunther.
Okay.
I think that ultimately, again, Jay does win that match, but I could of the 4, I was more easily able to talk myself into Gunther retaining and continuing him as this dominant champion, which is again something that Triple H has liked to do since he's taken over. He's had these long title reigns. And so switching all 4 at WrestleMania, I could talk myself into Gunther still being this dominant champion beyond WrestleMania. Again, even though I agree with the odds where it does not seem likely that any of the 4 are going to retain.
Gabe, I want you just to imagine that Gunther finds a way. As I mentioned, he's the Jokic of WWE, where he goes on a 14-0 run at the end of the game, and then that's it, right?
Yep.
He just goes just like that. That's what he does, because usually the way it works is he's on his heels, and all of a sudden, clothesline, body slam, some kind of submission movement, and it's over. Just like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to imagine in Las Vegas, a quarter of the fans taking their coats and going up the stairs and leaving if Jay doesn't win. After all of that, of the yeeting, I would just like to see the fans like, you know what? This is not for me. My guy didn't win. So long. And they start leaving.
Isn't that the opening match on Saturday?
Yeah, match number 1, main event Jay, match number 1 of a 2-day event.
And him losing would be amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the positioning on the card kind of makes me think that maybe Gunther is going to be walking away the champ on Saturday. And then everyone going, oh, man, that sucked. But then you've got whatever else is going to be coming after that. You still have the triple threat to look forward to that night. I
like the idea that everyone's yeeting the whole entrance because it's going to take 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then Jay loses, and then Tom is like, Mildred, that's it. We're out of here. Get the keys. Out. After all that
good money on those tickets. These are not Cheat Mania tickets. I don't know if they can do that.
I'm just telling you that would be amazing. And it's like now the fans would say, well, we're never going to believe in Jay. Main event Jay Uso keeps losing to the champ. So guess it's never going to happen for Jay. Main event Jay.
Yeah, but they get the fans right back. You have LA Knight come out for match 2, and all of a sudden the fans are back into it, and then he loses also.
I was about to say, but people do love Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Like people like, I mean, LA Knight, again, if he were to lose his match, it wouldn't be as bad because people love Fatu and the Samoan Werewolf. Like he is pretty over as well.
Yeah. I mean, I have Gunther 2 on my list. I have Io 1, Gunther 2. There is more storyline there. It does feel like with them being in the opening match, there might be some buyer's remorse with Jay winning the Rumble and be like, oh, this isn't working. Because even you get the emotional promo 2 weeks ago, and then this week we're right back to the same yeeting and standing in the announce table and doing the same thing over and over again. Like, it ain't working.
You know what I think? I thought about this going into the show. I said, Jay Uso is kind of like a rapper or some kind of artist that may not be like the greatest on the mic when you have an interview, but he gets the crowd going. We know a lot of people like that, right? Just like, you know what? That guy's just got charisma and he's cool. And I like his hits, whatever his hits are. I think that's different than a wrestler, Gabe, where it's just like a wrestler tells you what he's going to do. He's got 5-star matches, all this stuff. Jay Uso's just this guy that's got this charisma. People like him because he's cool. He's got the glasses. He says yeet. He's got a catchphrase. It's kind of it. Some people like that.
Yeah, and look, despite all the bitching and moaning from Brian Rowitz over the years about Jey Uso, he does connect with the fan base,
Yeah.
and has by the way connected with Brian Rowitz's son, who has yeeted very recently at a Marlins game. Instead of doing the wave, his son decided to get those hands up and just yeet.
He's very big in the 10-year-old community, the 9-year-old, however old my kid is. I told Hood, my flight over here, there's a grown man in a Jey Uso shirt and pants. I had to bite my tongue a little bit. I was like, sir, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Says journalist Brian Rowitz.
That's right.
I mean, it is undeniable the connection that Jay has and has had with the audience. Like that is undeniable. Whether you're a fan of him, whether you're not a fan of him, like he has the crowd in the palm of his hand every time he goes out there.
Yeah. Okay, so we have differences at 1. What's the next step, guys, as far as most likely to retain?
Well, again, that's where I had EO at 2.
I have Gunther at 2.
I still just and again, like 4 is Cody, right? Like nobody actually believes Cody's winning this.
I have Cody at 4. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's all agreement that because can you imagine if Cody wins? Like, what the hell do we do with the rest of the Cena retirement tour?
Him rock, and he turns back to being a face
at the end of the year. Yes.
Like Rock's disappointed in him, and you do stuff that way. There's nothing to do for Cody after that, but maybe.
Yeah, like Cody. I mean, Cody has to lose this.
Yes,
it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, there's money in the chase.
Again, yeah. So and Tiffy, again, we discussed the promo where everything went off the rails, but before that, she was pretty underwhelming.
Yeah.
And everything leading up to that, like, so I had Tiffy at 3.
So squeaky, your voice is so squeaky.
It just, I feel like her losing this weekend, which I think she will, it definitely takes a lot of the wind out of her. And like, I feel like it's a while until we see her back in this big time of a spot.
But how about a roll up 1, 2, 3 and then keep this thing going? Like, I don't need Charlotte to be champion right now. She doesn't. Charlotte, you talk about Tiffy. Charlotte, outside of some booze, is she really getting the reaction to, it's like, I got to see her in the ring?
No.
We just want to see her talk herself into a hole again. That's it. I mean, I'm not trying to see her come back and to be on top again in the women's division. We've seen it. It's time for something new.
They booked her though to be the strong badass, like on SmackDown on Friday night. Like they booked her stronger. Again, maybe that's the old swerve. She's the one who's going to be standing on top, and then it ends up being Tiffy going over at Mania. We'll see what happens this Friday. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm guessing SmackDown, and I am not. By the way, this is a criticism of WWE, but I'm completely fine with it. Like Raw was completely skippable. Raw was completely skippable on Monday, but also this close to WrestleMania. I completely understand putting everybody in bubble wrap and not doing anything risky because you don't want to mess up the cards that you've put together over the last handful of months. So Raw, it was skippable, but I'm completely fine with that because we're too close to WrestleMania and you don't want to mess anything up.
You got the Andre Battle Royal Friday night, though. See who gets that big trophy. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Great.
Uh-huh.
So excited.
I guess if we're going to add on here, Liv and Raquel, we believe that they will retain. If we're going to extend it out more, I think Bayley's heel turn is coming.
Yeah.
I don't like makeshift teams normally, and this Bayley thing just got hot because they went through the women's tag team turmoil thing, and so Bayley and Lyra, it's fine, but I think that Bayley's going to turn here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's going to give Lyra something, right? Like it. Hopefully that starts to build, because I know that's been a big criticism of her on our show. Like, okay, why do I care about Lyra? And hopefully a Bayley heel turn will give us more reason to care about her and her Intercontinental Championship run.
I'll also say title match, the IC title. I feel like you make case for any 4 of them. I think Dom wins, but I'd be okay with any of those 4 winning this weekend. Braun, Penta, Finn, and Dom.
Damn it! Can Braun hold on to the title for a minute? For God's sakes, 2-time champion within 12 months. Christ!
I don't know. Dom in the title run. That's some fun heat right there.
Dom should be champion. Sure, he's done great work.
Yeah.
But I mean, Braun is doing some tremendous things, man. I think one show we have to break this down of like him against Rick against Scott Steiner, and just as far as athleticism and things that he's done, he's been spectacular. Some of the things he's done.
Everyone else
But I
is
think
banned from doing spears as long as he's on the roster, because it's not going to compare to him. So just retire that from your moveset, Jay.
I mean, I don't, but also with Braun, I also feel like he doesn't need the IC title anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he's ready for a run at one of those championships. I don't know if he's quite there yet. Maybe he takes a run at Gunther if Gunther retains, or goes after Jay. I'm not sure, but he doesn't need the IC championship. You can do some cool stuff with him and continue to build him up because he's going to be he's a future world champion in the making.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think he can leave the IC championship behind and still, like, it's not going to hurt him if he loses this match and then he shows up on the Raw after WrestleMania and spears the hell out of someone to set up his next opponent without the championship. I think we can have some fun with that.
Well, here's some fantasy booking. You have to do some massaging, and they don't care about shows anyway. He could drop the IC title, and then he could pursue Jacob Fatu's US title.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I mean the draft is supposed to be shortly after Mania here.
There we go. Fatu versus Braun. Let's go.
Sure. I mean, you got a million titles there. Just take them all. It's way too many titles in WWE, but that's fine. I think the last one is War Raiders and New Day. New Day, do they have to have the championships? Can't the War Raiders win this one? Give them a spot?
Feels like New Day has to win.
Yeah. Woods has never won a WrestleMania match. I saw that number floating around this week. He's like 0-6 all time at Mania.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It feels like New Day kind of needs that win to at least try to not squander what they've already squandered.
Yep.
So there you have it. And again, it's a lot of championships, and some are not defended at WrestleMania, which we'll get to later on.